Hello everyone, this is Fi. We're checking out Hybrid Shooter System Prototype, demo DD38. This is I believe it's not actually a game, it's more of a sort of a sandbox to demonstrate the systems for a first-person shooter, which I believe is destined for like asset stores or something to that effect, but nevertheless, we're going to give it a playtest. I did actually try this a while back, I don't know, it was like a year ago or something. Or several months anyways, I don't remember, but I have no idea how it's progressed since then, but we're gonna give it a shot and see what we think of it. And I've got the game page open here. It says controls: movement WASD, sprint is left shift, fire is left click, ADS is right click, jump is space, cover is Q when prompted, dodge roll is C. Interesting. Reload is R and melee is F, just an animation at the moment. Alright. Let's get rid of the overlay. I'm not seeing anything past the screen. This is what it looks like when you first launch the game here. So I'm in here currently. I don't know, is there like an options menu by any chance? Looks like escape doesn't do anything, but in the top left it says press. Is that like the tilde key, I guess? Restart level with J, switch config with P, config default config, current state, first person, cover action, idle. Let's try the P key. All right, you zoomed in. Okay. So okay, config default first only, default third only, then default config. So I'm not sure why it goes to zoomed in like this. Is it like a field of view thing or something? And then it goes into third person mode. Then this is, I'm guessing it's just the field of view that's changing. It feels like it zooms in, but it's kind of weird. Any case, yeah, so I mean, immediately it's like there's a few things that kind of stand out to me, like there's no settings or anything, which is really important for, you know, first person games like this, unless I just haven't found it yet. So that seems unfortunate. So like for instance, there's no mouse sensitivity. So the current sensitivity is kind of low. I can use the buttons on my mouse to increase the DPI a bit. That kind of helps a little. Also, it's in borderless window mode, which means VSync is enabled, and I can't disable it, which also means that there's a lot of input lag, which makes aiming much harder than it would be. It just makes everything feel off. But it doesn't look like there's any like active enemies or anything like with AI or anything, so it's not going to matter too much in terms of that, but it doesn't feel nearly as good as it would otherwise. So the jumping feels very floaty. It does not feel like what I would expect at all. I think you can make that a lot faster. I can't seem to jump while I'm going up the stairs, which I think is... Oh, you just can't jump on the stairs? Just maybe not what you want. Also, it's like you get this kind of bumpy effect as you're going up the stairs. I think what you want to do is just put a ramp here. You know, just put a single plane going up here that, instead of this kind of funny stair step effect. I mean, I guess if you want to... If you want to have like a little step up effect in case you design the levels that way, again, that's understandable. It might be nice if it was maybe a little smoother, I guess. Also, you seem to fall a little bit when you're walking down, because it kind of feels like the gravity is a little too low or something. And so that's maybe not what you want, but yeah, this would definitely be a lot smoother if this is just a ramp. And yeah, so there's a bit of funniness if I hold W and press jump against these red things. I get this jerky effect that seems quite buggy. I don't know what this is meant to be. Seems to get some bugginess on this too, so I think it just seems like anything with like a little ledge or something. Alright, we got a little gun here. I don't see any like tracers or anything coming out of the gun, which might be nice just for visual effect. Here's our ADS. ADS does not appear to be aligned correctly. And when it does the animation, it kind of rotates a little bit. Just kind of goofy. You see, it kind of rotates the gun to the right slightly, so it kind of like looks like it's a little more lined up. I don't know if the developer like intentionally misaligned this to kind of compensate for the animation or something. It's kind of silly. Looks like we can hold shift to run. We get a little bit of field of view effect, or whatever this is. That. I feel like this feels kind of gradual when you do this. Like it kind of stretches out quite a bit. I mean, it's fine, I guess. I guess my immediate inclination was that I wish it could kind of feel it more immediately when you press the button. This doesn't really feel like you're running faster in a really obvious way. So maybe you can make that a little more obvious, like when you press the button, that it kind of kicks in that you kind of pick up speed all of a sudden. Can I kill these guys? Hello. That doesn't appear. Is that hitting him, or is that hitting the ground? That's hitting the ground behind him. Guess I'm out of bullets. Alright, is there a reload? Alright, these guys don't appear to have any collision currently. They're also quite small compared to me, which is a little funny. Switch config with P. Right. Oh. Yeah, this feels weird. Let's try the third person. Alright, apart from the animations being kind of janky here, seems to work. That this field of view feels a little claustrophobic in my opinion. I think this is the most comfortable mode here. I guess there was cover. Alright, there's a little pop-up. Kind of see it says press Q to enter cover in the top left there. It's quite hard to see that text. I think in general the UI is not anything special to speak of. It's just kind of, it looks like placeholder, but everything is like really small. I would just kind of crank up the size of everything, if nothing else, just to make it more obviously readable. Oh, that's interesting. Okay, so that kind of makes sense. So when you're sprinting, like if you're holding W, of course, if you press A or D, you're like barely move in kind of the strafe direction. So you're mostly turning with the mouse, that's fine, and that kind of makes sense. But it feels weird because you kind of expect a certain behavior when you press A and D while you're holding forward, and then like when it doesn't happen, it's sort of, it kind of feels like the game is fighting you a little bit. I don't know if maybe it would be better if you could at least move in diagonals. I mean, that makes sense to not be able to sprint sideways or backwards. But maybe when you're doing kind of these forward diagonals, maybe you want to kind of leave that a little more functional there. Might make sense, and just for the sake of the feeling of it. Now, are there other... Trying some other... Oop! I managed to pull... Okay, so... Wait, what did I press? Oh, something is... Okay, so apparently only the one button, the one key, changes weapons. It's kind of silly. I don't know what this flash on the screen is. We got a shotgun. got pistol and SMG. So there's like a little delay after you press the button before you can do something else. It's quite a while, like with the shotgun, before you can do an action. So one thing that I find annoying is like when you want to take out a gun and just start shooting. You can do it with this one apparently because it's automatic. Like I press the button to change weapons, then I just want to start shooting, but like I have to wait for this timer to finish before I can shoot the weapon, which makes sense. But like if I'm like holding the mouse button in anticipation of the weapon to start shooting, it doesn't actually do that unless it's with this weapon. So like if I change to this, like right now I'm holding the mouse button down and it's not doing anything. So I have to wait for that timer to finish before I press the button, but unless I know exactly when that's going to happen, I guess I can keep like spamming the button over and over again until it finally shoots. But I think it'd be nice if the game kind of checked for an input there. If you're holding it down the mouse button once that timer finishes, so that you can kind of shoot right away. If nothing else. And along with that, you can have some buffered inputs. Like for instance, if I'm reloading and then I want to change weapons, like I have to wait for this reload animation to finish, or else it'll just eat the input. So if you don't want the player to be able to cancel any actions, which is another topic of discussion, I guess, it would be nice at least if they could buffer the input, so as soon as the action finishes, it would do the thing that they wanted. So if they press the button too early, it won't just eat the input, because that feels really bad in my opinion. Apart from that, like being able to cancel some actions to do other actions is pretty standard in FPS games. Like when it comes to the reloading speed or the time it takes to pull out the gun. I'm not sure like immediately exactly what I would do in terms of like exactly how to do that, but in general, having, forcing the player to always wait for all of these animations to finish before they can do their next action probably isn't as fun as being able to cancel these somewhat, keep things more fluid. And if they happen to press something that they, maybe they change their mind after they start pulling out the shotgun or something, and they want to do something different, they don't have to just like sit there and wait for their player to like do this weird animation where he's like lifting up the gun, and it just feels, it kind of takes you out of the game if the game is constantly sort of stealing the control away from you like that, in my opinion. I thought I noticed something weird with the audio when you got really close to these things, but it doesn't sound... It just sounds proper to me right now in terms of like the 3D and the positional element of the audio and stuff, so I don't know what that was, but it seems fine. There's some weird plane on like my left arm that's kind of showing up in the bottom of the screen there, whatever that is. So yeah, the cover system, I didn't actually do that. It was just Q, I believe, but what, I can't do it here? Is it because this isn't a hard corner? Here it works. I don't know why. It's kind of strange. Alright, we're in cover. Supposedly my feet are still moving here. So this is swapping the... Oh, wow. Swapping the shoulders for me automatically here. This is a bit annoying in my opinion. I think I remember mentioning this the last time I playtested this, but I think I'd prefer to have a button to swap shoulders here. Because if I just want to like shift left and right a bit, I don't really like how this camera is just dramatically bouncing back and forth like this. It's kind of just not pleasant to look at, and can be quite annoying if I just want to make like a little adjustment or something. Sorry, this animation is kind of funny. So apparently if you try to ADS, it kind of does this. So you can still aim, it's just the animation's kind of ridiculous. So yeah, I mean, in terms of animation, it's still quite janky, but yeah. The other thing I noticed is that if you like press the button, if you press one button or press A and then D, like really quickly or whatever, the camera just jumps instantly in some cases instead of sliding. So that's probably a bit of a bug there, I guess. This seems to work. What do I do to get out? I guess I have to press Q again to get out. I feel like I should be able to do other inputs, like press, for instance, jump or shift or something to kind of transition out of this, rather than having to reach for the Q button again to get away from cover. If I'm in cover or something, like I kind of want to like immediately and smoothly transition into another action. So it kind of feels, in my opinion, a bit annoying to have to reach again for the Q key. Also, it's probably not the key that I would personally choose for like a default here. I'm not sure how the game determines where you can do that. Maybe it's just like manually placed areas here, because it's not like I can do that at this corner, for instance. It doesn't seem to work. But yeah, for like cover system, maybe there's another more accessible button you can use. I'm trying to remember which button did I used to play Ghost Recon Phantoms a little bit. I mean, I didn't play it for that long, but it's kind of a pay-to-win game. But it's really fun at first before you got to all the pay-to-win players. But had like a really slick cover system. I wonder if they just like stuck that into the new Rainbow Six or Ghost Recon games. I don't know, but in any case, yeah, it's a little bit of a reach for Q. It's kind of weird, but I like the idea of you have a game that features cover systems to make to make that like a really prominent feature. You can like put that on like a really accessible button, so you can kind of use it all the time. So it looks like we can cover here. What about crouching? Just crouching just not work? C is the dodge roll. I forgot about that. It's kind of a weird button. Also, like I never use C for anything. I know some games kind of default C as like crouch or whatever. I always change that to control. I'm actually gonna check the game page here real quick. Whoa, oh my mouse. Okay. Had to reset my mouse DPI. It was like out of control there. Dodge roll is C, cover is Q, reload R, melee is F. So it doesn't look like we actually have crouching, which is very strange. I'm hoping you plan to add crouching, because even in games that aren't even shooters, like just games that are like walking sims or something, it always feels better to me in first person to be able to crouch. Oh my gosh, my little legs. It's just something about the interaction, like first person game interaction. It feels right to me to be able to crouch as part of interacting with the world. Sometimes there's things kind of lower to the ground that you want to examine or whatever, and it's just really natural to have crouch there. So obviously in this case, for shooting and stuff, you benefit from that because you could use cover better and stuff if you're crouching. So I imagine that's something the developer has planned, but yeah, interesting how it's not in the game yet. So what else should we test out here? Looks like we are able to holster a weapon with no bullets in it. I've gotten a bit spoiled, I guess, by in Overwatch. They don't have a lot of weapon switching in Overwatch, but there's a couple of cases where um, they have it, and it's like if your gun doesn't have bullets in it, but you switch weapons after like a period of time, it just kind of automatically behind the scenes like puts the bullets in your weapon. So you never have this situation where you suddenly switch weapons and the gun is empty. Which in my opinion is a great feature. I know it's like not very realistic, but I don't really care. You know, it just feels really good. It's like a quality of life thing in my opinion. It's really nice. So that's something to consider. What else do we talk about here? We got a little bit of recoil. I'm noticing there's no, what do they call that? The recoil compensation, I guess. Which would be nice to have. I'm wondering, was the developer talking about that at some point? I think he was on the Discord server. Yeah, that would be nice to have. Interestingly, there's not much recoil on the shotgun, of all things. Alright, F is melee, right? Thought it was. Doesn't appear to do anything. Wait. Restart level J. So that works, but I don't think there's any reason to do that currently. Oh, this guy's actually crouching under the cover here now, which I don't think he was doing that before. Oh, so maybe okay. If I hold W, it looks like my guy stands up so that he can shoot. I guess shooting is not disabled while he's crouched, just maybe not what you wanted. I don't know. Oh, it looks like I can even shoot behind me while I'm doing this in third person here. But yeah, it makes sense. You hold W and you kind of get up, but there's like a lot of delay here between when I press the button down and when the guy actually gets up, so it feels really quite unresponsive. I can't move left and right while I'm standing like this, which is quite goofy. If I hold W, I'm just kind of stuck. Oh, right now it's not working. Right now it's not working. Alright, so if I'm like all the way on the right edge and I hold W, it doesn't stand up for whatever reason. I have to move a little bit to the left here. So yeah, it's kind of annoying with the camera shifting over the shoulders back and forth like this again, like I mentioned. And yeah, it doesn't make a lot of sense to me that you can't move left and right while you're in this state. See, again, like I want to just kind of like turn my camera around and press forward and like press shift or something to start running in this direction, but I can't. I actually have to like reach for the Q button to unstick myself from the wall. It's kind of weird. Yeah, so what else are we going to try out here? I don't think there's much else to look at currently. Oof. I can't get over this. Alright, there. Okay. Alright. So yeah, I think that's probably about all we're going to get out of this, so hopefully this was a useful enough video for you. Oop. Yeah, I don't like the way when you sprint you can't really move in the diagonal more than just like a tiny bit. Actually, it feels really weird. It kind of feels almost slidey. There's a lot of inertia, it feels like. Whereas when you're not doing it, it doesn't feel like there's any inertia. That's a very weird feeling. Yeah, I would suggest, I think it feels better if you can just kind of move mostly, I mean, it doesn't have to be like exactly the same as when you're not sprinting, but I would like get rid of any of this weird inertia effect you have going on here and just make it feel kind of very consistent instead of making it so you can like barely not move diagonally at all. It just feels a lot better in my opinion to have that consistent than to have this idea that you can't you know, sprint diagonally or whatever, which regardless of whether or not that's realistic, it would feel a lot better in my opinion. So yeah, hopefully this video is useful for you. Wait a minute. Oh, okay. Maybe that's not what you wanted. It looks like if I'm standing here, I can press Q to go into cover, but it's like really wonky. I don't think that's intended. Alright, so let's wrap this up, but hopefully you found it useful. Let me know if you have any questions, and I'll see you in the next video.